Alright, so today I'm gonna show you what kind of upgrades I did on my solo guitar kit that I built last year. And why build a guitar kit anyway? Well, for me it was to be able to work on a guitar, build it, put it together, and do all the work myself, and do all the soldering and hookups and whatever. And it's a good exercise to do on a cheap guitar and get experience so that you can work on your more expensive guitars with confidence. So for me it was a training tool and really enjoyed it. So I do like the TELE. It plays well even with the stock equipment and stuff that it came with. However, I wanted to beef it up a little bit, so I did make some changes, and in a few minutes we'll go into the changes that I made, a few upgrades that I made that obviously helped give the guitar better sound, better playability, and so forth. One thing to remember though is when you work with a guitar kit, that if you put Fender pickups in it or better pots and stuff like that, you will have to possibly make some modification. The pots, the stock pots that came with this guitar, and also the pickups were much smaller on the plate underneath the magnets. So the routing was very narrow, and the new Fender vintage pickups that I put in were too big, so I did have to reroute the cavities out a little bit, and I did that with a Dremel, and that was no problem. And also I had to, same with the new pots that I put in, they were bigger obviously than the Chinese ones, so I did have to adjust the routing there a little bit too. So again, that's fun, you know, you are not afraid to make modifications because, you know, it's not really an expensive instrument, and if something goes wrong, well, so be it, right? So it's good training if you're into doing some guitar work. So with no further ado, let's go see some of the upgrades I did. Thank you. So on my Telecaster solo guitar kit Telecaster, my frets were a little rough on the side, and I took care of them when I built the guitar. But since then it's now winter and it's a little drier in the house, and some of the edges have become a little sharp because the wood is obviously shrinking. So I'm just going to carefully, I taped it up, I'm just going to carefully sand those a tiny bit with my nail file. It has multi sides, all different. So I used the rough one here first. So I want these to be nice and smooth. And then of course, I'll do each individual one a little bit. So that's one of the adjustments you definitely need to do probably on a kit, and sometimes even a brand new guitar, right? I will do the other side as well. Okay, that's done. So some upgrades that I have done for this solo guitar kit is I swapped out the stock tuners that came with the kit, which were quite cheap, with a set of Fenders tuners. They're not locking tuners, they're just standard Fender tuners. Came out of one of my Strats some time ago, so I recycled them and put them in. I had to do a little bit refitting, but it's can be done very easily. Okay, so that was the Wonder one. The other thing I did was I put a bone nut in it. I did got rid of the plastic nut and bought a pre-slotted bone nut. to fit a Chinese instrument. You can get the measurements online for that. Gives you different specs: American Strats, Mexican Strats, and import Strat. So this solo guitar kit is based on an import Strat. So the knot did fit really well. I did have to did some filing just to make the proper first fret adjustments. So the other upgrade was obviously I shielded all the cavities, but the other upgrade was Fender pickups. Was about a couple of $100 for that. Because the pickups are a little bit bigger on the bottom, I did have to route out the cavity a little bigger. Okay, and the same thing happened in the front too, because the magnet underneath, the plate under the magnet, is bigger than the stock that came. So I did have to take the Dremel and I had to make a little bit more room. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good enough because nobody can see it. It's all hidden and the pickups fit now. So it was a little bit of surgery, but it's all good. And obviously the sound is much better now. And the other thing I upgraded was control plate and a new three-way switch, Fender three-way switch, and I upgraded both pods to 250K. So a whole new electronics for the whole works. So we'll put that back together. So tuners, nut, pickups, control plates, all new electronics, switch. Okay. And the last upgrade was SCHALLER locking straps. Keeps your guitar safe on you. I did those upgrades. I thought it'll give my TELE a little edge. And other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. So I can certainly recommend doing your own guitar kit. Okay, so here is the upgraded version. I'm gonna go and restring it now.